Hey, how are you? This is Lawton Childs. Hope you're doing well. So I noticed that about half the people in the group here are seeing the videos and stuff. So what I would recommend is you can go into the group notifications. So you want to go to like where you join the group. It'll say like you. So when you click the group, right, you see all the posts and stuff. There's a thing on the right hand side that says joined, right? And it'll say like you're a member of the group or whatever. Um, and what you do is you click that, and it'll say have a little button that says manage notifications, and you want to turn on all notifications, right? And so that's going to actually alert you when stuff gets posted, rather than you being like, did he post something? What's going on? So I highly encourage you to turn on all notifications. It's important. It's important. The other thing is I want to tell you about this cold emailing the Delta CEO. So this guy's name is Ed Bastian. Ed Bastian is the CEO, or I guess the president and CEO of Delta Airlines, which is, I think, the number one airline. At least here in Atlanta, they like worship Delta, right? It's like we bow before you, Delta. My buddy had showed me this trick where you can get the email string of the company. Okay, so it's like lawtonchilds at delta.com, or maybe it's like lawton.childs at delta.com. You know, every company has an email string, usually, if they're big enough. Like, here's how we format the emails, right? So basically what I did was I got his email, or I attached some different emails that I thought were his, right, based on my research. And my subject line was, now this is the key here. There had been an article in the Wall Street Journal that I had read that had been about in-flight Wi-Fi, and this was about a year and a half ago, and the Wi-Fi was getting better and better. They were investing in all these things, and they were like, hey, it's going to be really fast now, even though it sucked before. And so what I did was I emailed him, and I said, the subject line was, saw you in the Wall Street Journal, right? So it wasn't anything about me. It wasn't anything about my, maybe a product I wanted to sell him, or, some favor that I was asking him, right? It was all about him, and I think that's one of the distinctions, is a give first mentality, right? Where 9 times out of 10, a lot of people that are just coming into the space of internet marketing or online marketing or selling or whatever, is their emails are all about them, right? And it can be anything, emails, Facebook, direct mail, it doesn't matter, right? We're having to be talking about email in the group, but it could be anything. And so the email basically said, hey, saw you in the Wall Street Journal, right? And then the body of it said, hey, Ed, Mr. Bastian, or whatever, saw you in the Wall Street Journal. Congratulations on, being featured in there. That's really cool. By the way, I heard that the internet is going to get really fast on your plane, right? And I said, please don't let people speak on their cell phones when the internet gets really fast. And he replied back, and this is how I knew it was him, because I know people that are pretty wealthy in some different circles, and this is how they all talk, is he said, we will not allow it, Ed or whatever. And I was like, this is him. Like, it's one sentence. If you can get one sentence or less, this is usually how like these really wealthy people talk. And so I was like, this is him, Ed Bastian, so I was like, this is awesome, because he doesn't know who I am, but the basic thing was like, it was about him, not me. Right. So the first, couple emails in the series, if you can make it about, number one, so the thing I want you to take through from this video is I'm going to ask you to do multiple things, which is really bad for conversion, right? You should never do this. So I'm breaking my own rule. So number one is, please turn on all notifications in the group. Go to the joined button, click on that. You're going to see this thing says manage notifications, and you want to turn on all notifications, right? Number two is you want to do a I hunt in your emails. And if the word I is in your email like 9 times out of 10, and the word you is in your email like once out of every 10, you want to replace that. And you want to start talking about the other person 99% of the time, right? Or 95% of the time, right? Sometimes you're telling a story, you have to talk about yourself and whatever. But I see all these emails from even people that know what they're doing, And the email is just all about them, right? My certification, my background, let me tell you a story about my childhood, right? And it's like that stuff needs to happen, but there's got to be a preface like, hey, thought about you when I went through this, or has this ever happened to you, or some other thing that basically talks about them 90% of the time, right? Even when you're telling a story about yourself, you can always go back and enter in transitional phrases like, does this make sense to you? Has this ever happened to you? Are you clear on what I'm saying to you in the story? If not, let me break it down for you, right? So you see, I'm basically putting in the word you almost an obsessive amount because people like to talk about themselves. People like to read about themselves. Nobody wants to read a book about me, right? Nobody wants to read a book about... So, number one, turn on all notifications in the group. Number two, talk way more about them than you talk about yourself or your product, your program, right? Now, one of the things that I did in the email, again, was basically like, saw you in the Wall Street Journal, right? It wasn't like, hey, I have a favor to ask, or hey, I'm pissed at your company. It was all about kind of flattering him, not in like a bad way or like a disingenuous way, but in a way that basically said, hey, this is going to be flattering to you if you open this, right? So that's the other thing, is like, what's the benefit to your reader for opening up the email? And then if you can, put that in there, that's awesome as well. And then make it really all about them, right? Because at the end of the day, nobody cares about us. Nobody cares about our product. Nobody cares about our certificate. Nobody cares about our PhD. Nobody cares about our 8-week program, right? They just want to get their problem solved and their challenges solved, right? So anyway, I hope you're doing well and hope to see this video finds you well. And stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. And if you have some cool stories about who you've emailed or talked to, drop it in the comments because I'd like to know. It was just kind of funny to me, but like, hey, I just talked to like a $30 million a year CEO, and the guy has no idea who I am, right? And the key to that is like me putting him first and giving first, right? And of course, I never asked him for anything, but if I had, it would have gone down a lot better if I had said, hey, I saw you in the Wall Street Journal, and like, hey, cool, great job. By the way, this happened with my ticket or something. Could you do anything? He'd be probably a lot more willing to do it than if I just said, hey, Ed, I'm pissed because this happened. So anyway, hope that helps, and I'll talk to you soon.